Fuck. God damn it. It's a bad loss, man. Bad loss. Lots of baseball there. Low scoring affair. So many opportunities. Good pitching. Not ideal, man. What is up, Jacob? Brighter Dark says, what are we swinging at? I don't know. Wells got one to hit. He got one right there, breaking ball middle. All he had to do was pull a sock fly, and he fucking missed it. Bernard says, suck. Yeah, that certainly does suck. Jacob says, elite pitching. It was. Jason says, not like we don't know how to win in extra innings. Very true. We seem to lose every opportunity in extras, and it's one of the most predictable outcomes in the last century of Yankees baseball. We know it's going to fucking happen. Fucks over the night to Dominguez. Yeah, he sure as fuck. He was bad all game. The umpire was terrible. Low strikes, balls off the plate, inside, up, down, left, right, whatever fucking direction, anywhere. It just was bad. Aaron Boone ripped him a new one. Arson Judge 619. Is this the chat you're reading off of, Johnny? Yeah. So I can see the YouTube comments, and I can see the Twitter comments as well. So when you guys comment on either platform, I can see them. So keep them coming. This is our post-game therapy session after a very irritating loss there. Michael G says trash at bats. Man, just so many. There's just so many moments where that game could have been won, and that's what just makes it so damn frustrating. Jason said, "Would it kill us to lay down a sack bunt?" Unfortunately, major leaguers just don't look like they can bunt anymore. I don't think they practice it. They pop it up often. It's just Arson Judge 619 says, "What is your YouTube?" So if you go to my Twitter profile, click the blue link. It will direct you to the Lasagna Show on YouTube. Like this video, then subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing these Mondays through Thursday. So post-game reaction, that's mostly going to be what we're doing here. So I'd love to have you guys there. RPZ says, DJ gonna DJ. What did you expect? What did you expect? I expected that. I fucking expected it. Dylan says, DJ and his fucking pants are about as bad as the offense today. I would agree. I think the no high socks might have been the worst part of the game. Seeing DJ without the high socks, I might have PTSD from that. So definitely encourage him to pull those pants up next time. These types of games happen, Johnny. They certainly do. It's a long season. NYY says way too many missed opportunities, but we didn't deserve to win that game. There were some very very big missed opportunities there. There was definitely chances to win that game when they should have won that game. What channel? So the YouTube channel is called The Lasagna Show. You can find it on my Twitter main profile. Click the link in my bio, and it'll take you right to the page. Hit the subscribe button, and you will be good to go. Diego says, what prospects would you be willing to let go of the deadline? Oh, I don't know. Some of the ones on the squad right now are hitting the guys in the bigs, and there's a handful in the minors, but it depends what's available. You can't really predict it, but we'll see what happens. Ian says, this team in extras makes you want to crash out. We have no situational hitting. Yeah, I mean, the situation has been good in the last, month and a half, but tonight it was not good. Zach says, what do you expect the lineup to be tomorrow? Well, we know DJ LeMahieu will be starting, so you got 4 at-bats to look forward to there. I feel like Tim Hill lately has been I know tonight was a ghost run. Yeah, it's true. I think his ERA is in the mid-3s, maybe pushing 4 right now, so Tim Hill hasn't, had some of the same magic he had last season, unfortunately. But it's a long season. Maybe it'll even out. He's kind of a junk guy. Doesn't throw that hard. Weird left-handed arm angle. So he's not your first option out of the bullpen, but he's more of a lefty specialist. So I don't really expect him to be a key setup man going forward, but more of a matchup guy. Maybe if the ump didn't miss 80% of the calls, yeah, the ump was awful, just awful. And umpires are the worst part of Major League Baseball by far. There's not one part of Major League Baseball that is as bad or worse than umpires. The calls on the field, the attitudes, the way they carry themselves, the terrible balls and strike calls behind the plate. Um, the robot umpires cannot come soon enough. And I mean, there's always going to be base umpires, but man, the one tonight was awful. I'm glad Boone ripped him a new one. Boone was pretty pissed the fuck off, and I'd love to see it. Boone had a pretty good day today. I'm not the biggest Boone guy, as many of you know, but I definitely think he wasn't that bad today. Bernard says they need to go get a pitcher now. We'll see what's out there. Starting pitching was good today. Clark Schmidt didn't look bad yesterday. Luis Hill's coming. Rodon's been pretty decent. Yarbrough, not too bad. So, it is what it is. But I would like to see some high power, high octane bullpen guys come in and get swing and miss. Even though Weaver and Williams did do well tonight. Ray C says not too bummed about this loss. Sometimes your offense is off. Today was one of those days, although it sucks to give Fried 0 run support. I wouldn't say the offense was off. I think the offense faced some really good pitching today from start to finish. Wu started out, first inning, a few hard hit balls. I was like, oh shit, maybe his stuff isn't that good. You saw my tweet. I was like, I don't love his stuff. I mean, I think we can hit him. Offense has been hot. A few balls were squared up pretty good there in the first. Bellinger hits a double. But he settled down. His velo went from 94, 95 in the first to up to 98 later in the game. So the stuff definitely played up. And their bullpen is filthy, man. They got, Brash is nasty. I forget the closer's last name. Is it Munoz? Something like that. That fucker's nasty too. So I think, offense is fine, in my opinion. It's just one of those games. They just faced some really tough pitching today. But all the pitchers that went today makes tomorrow even more interesting. Which one of their guys do they go with on back-to-back nights? A lot of matchups and, different situations arise tomorrow because of how much the pitching worked today. So definitely will be interesting to see. Eddie Snap says we are officially not undefeated in free starts. Yeah, the run is over, unfortunately. But he did his best today with not his best stuff, which is definitely encouraging to see. A pitcher that good, you're not going to have your great stuff every day, every start. Throughout the course of 162 starting pitchers, you hope get 30 starts. You probably have really good stuff and maybe half or less. So. It depends on conditions. It depends on, sometimes it depends on the sleep you got, the bed you got in the hotel, if you're on the road, if you're home. Some days you feel stiff. Some days you feel great. What's the weather like? I mean, there's so many different variables that could play into whether a starting pitcher feels good that day. So today was one of those days where Fried didn't have, the perfect command. He was a little off. But he limited the damage often. He only gave up one run, and he gave the team a chance to win. Team had many different opportunities to win this game. So got to tip your captain Max Fried for another really good start. And to my fantasy team. So, little extra brownie points for me over here. Because everybody cares about my fantasy team. So I'm going to talk about it as much as possible. And I'm sorry if you don't want to hear it. I'm going to keep talking about it. But in return, you can talk about your fantasy team too. So I want to hear about yours. We can exchange fantasy team scenarios and act like everybody cares when most of them don't. But it is what it is. Chris, I seen DJ strike out and all I could do was chuckle. Yeah, that was bad, man. The way baseball works out, everyone's been talking shit about DJ, and you see him come up in that moment with a runner in scoring position. You go, man, this is the baseball gods are going to make all of us who've been talking crap about DJ look like idiots here, and he's going to come through. But unfortunately, it was the DJ we all expected. So I think the only part that was a little surprising is that he didn't have an opportunity to hit and do a double play. So he did the second worst thing, which was strike out and looked feeble. So whatever. D. Miluz, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Why don't the Yankees walk the leadoff hitter and extras set the double play? That's an interesting strategy. Not going to lie. It depends who the pitcher is. You got to have a guy who can get ground balls. So, I mean, depending on what type of analytics they have, that's because that's how they run everything these days. Depending on if the analytics think that pitcher on the mound and that batter at the plate is a good match for a ground ball, maybe if it's a good match in a good situation, maybe if it's Aaron Judge, you put the guy on and you kind of deal with it after that. But, putting on extra base runners and extras is usually not a great idea. So it just depends on the situation. Emma says, love what we saw from Devin Williams. Yeah, absolutely. His changeup looked really good. Fastball is up to 95. Another pressure moment. Runner on third there and extras. If the run scores, the game's over. So Devin clutched up big time, and that's definitely what we want to keep seeing from him as well. Michael G, I don't know, DJ, Peraza, and Race are going to cut it for second and third. Probably not. We'll see what happens at the deadline, though. I don't know who's going to be available. It's one of those things. It just depends on what the Yankees are willing to give up, who's going to be available, what teams think they're out, what teams think they're still going to be in. But that group right there, I mean, at least Peraza can play a good third base. I mean, we saw some really good plays from him today. He's got really sure hands. He's got quick reaction time, which is what you need to have at third base. He's got a strong arm. He's athletic when he does get on base. I know he's not hitting much and not getting on much at all, but when he does get on, at least he's more athletic. So of that group, I would lean Peraza, but DJ's probably going to play second base a lot going forward because of the Oswaldo situation. There's a need, so I can see Peraza playing third base going forward and DJ playing second probably. But we'll see how it plays out. Bernard, my guy, says we love your fantasy team. You don't gotta lie to me, man. You don't gotta lie. Just kidding. I am just kidding. Guys and girls all talk about their fantasy teams because we all think we're GMs. The only time we don't talk about our fantasy teams is when they're doing shitty. Then we act like we never played at all season. What do you mean? What fantasy team? I didn't play fantasy baseball this year. That's when you deny it. Only time when you talk about it is when things are going well, and you can pat yourself on the back and act like you're GM of the year. So that's how fantasy baseball works. Ray C, I agree. Michael G, I'm interested in moving Jones for a third base upgrade. Ooh, I like Jones. A lot of people don't like Jones. I know he strikes out a ton still. But his damage numbers look good. He's hitting the ball hard. He crushes mistakes. He can hit homers. But he's going to strike out a ton, and his batting average might be like 0.41 in the bigs. I have no fucking clue what he's going to be. But we do know he potentially can hit 30, 35 bombs in the bigs. I think he absolutely can with the short porch Yankee Stadium. He usually doesn't miss mistakes. And, in the bigs, over a 162, you're going to get mistakes. And I know he's going to hit them. It's just in between those homers and doubles, what's that going to look like? And it's probably going to be a lot of strikeouts and a lot of struggles. But it's going to be an interesting situation because he's going to be mid-20s here soon, and he should be ready for the bigs next season. So it's going to next couple months in the minors, they're going to be really looking to see if he can get that strikeout rate down and be the power guy and show the improvements they've been looking for. So Spencer Jones is going to be interesting though once the trade deadline comes around. If there's a big name starting pitcher that just so happens to come up and the Yankees feel like they've got an opportunity to win a World Series potentially this year, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be a tough choice. It's really going to be a tough choice, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Los says, was wondering why DJ looked weird, didn't have the high socks. I noticed it right away. Right away, he stood in the box. I was like, oh, long pants. Got the long pants on, and I haven't recovered since, to be honest. If you see the look in my eyes, that is the look of devastation, disgust, and I probably have PTSD from that. I don't think I'll ever emotionally recover from seeing DJ without the high socks. So please bear with me as I kind of go through an episode right now because that was jarring, I got to say. Jess says Peraza isn't hitting. It's super unfortunate because I feel like there may be some potential there. I think so too. I mean, in the minors, he did show some promise when he was first coming up as a prospect, but recently in the minors last couple of years, I think he was playing almost every day and his numbers didn't look great there either. So he might be one of those guys that's just an athletic guy in the bases and a supreme defender, but just can't cut it hitting in the bigs. And it sucks because I think he has pretty good power. He's not a big guy, but he does show some good power at times. He's shown it in the past, but it's just consistency. And, it might be a little unfair because he hasn't gotten unlimited run. He hasn't gotten, the same type of playing time that Wells is getting now and Volpe. So it's a little unfair to say that he hasn't, put together some consistent offensive success. But when you're not getting those everyday opportunities and you're kind of sitting, starting, you're like a backup, then you want to play. Then they want him to play because an injury happens. He's going to get an opportunity, though, with the Oswaldo issue to get a lot of action there at third. I'm not a huge fan of Vivas right now. He's been swinging out of his ass and missing everything. Plate discipline doesn't look good. The bat-to-ball skills doesn't look good. He looks like I don't know if any of you guys ever played over the line at the park with your friends. You know, all the outfielders go to one side of the field. You got one guy at the plate, one guy pitching to you. You know, you just see if you get how you just see if you can hit as far as you can. And that's what Vivas looks like, what he's doing at the plate every time. He's just up there hacking his ass off at everything and doesn't hit much. He misses a lot. So, I mean, I would rather see Peraza get most of the run going forward than see Vivas in there just swinging and missing like a helicopter. So we'll see how it plays out, though. I think he showed some really good defensive prowess today, which is what we expect from him. So if he can and at least give some confidence to the organization in terms of he'll catch the ball and play a good third base, maybe he'll get some more action there. But I know they do love the righty-lefty matchups with the lineup, so I'm assuming Vivas is going to continue to get looks against right-hand pitching. So going to be interesting. John says Jones will be a poor man's Joey Gallo. I can't say you're wrong there. I mean, he's tracking towards that. Joey had some really good years in Texas, so I mean, if Spencer Jones, looks the way Joey did in Texas, that'd be awesome. But yeah, I think Gallo was a head case, and New York was not for him. So unfortunate the way that played out, because everyone was so excited. Most people were excited to get him. That was the same, I believe, the same offseason we got Rizzo as well. So it's gonna be interesting. John also says Jones K's way too much. 2 years in Double-A. Timu Joey Gallo. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out. He's got a couple more months here to show that he can cut down on the strikeouts. His batting stance has changed considerably. I don't know if some of you have seen the Spencer Jones batting stance in the minors recently, but he opened that thing way up. A lot of people are comparing it to Judge, but he's even more open than Judge. So they're doing a lot of tinkering. I mean, usually when you open your stance like that is to get both eyes more on the ball. Sometimes when you're in a regular batting stance, you're kind of closed off, and whatever your lead eye might be your weaker eye or your stronger eye, or maybe you feel like you need to get both eyes on the ball. And sometimes opening yourself up, turning your whole face towards the pitcher, gets both eyes on the ball, and then you kind of stride into your usual situation there and go to hitting. But they're doing a lot of different things with him and trying to get him to figure out how to stop striking out so much. So hopefully something they're doing is working, because that K rate is only going to go up from what it's been in the minors to when he gets to the majors. And, it can snowball quickly, especially with the fan base, because they've passed up on some good players over the years. And anytime you do that, it's like the Volpe situation. They've passed up on some really solid shortstops over the last few years. Everyone, brings up Seager. But when that prospect does get up to the bigs, like Volpe did, and they underperform hitting wise for a couple years in a row, everyone's like, okay, we passed up on some bona fide major league talent for this young guy. Young guy's finally here. He's not doing it. What's the deal? So that's going to kind of be what's going on with Spencer Jones when he finally comes up. And I think that'll be it'll be next season. I think Bellinger will probably move to first, and then Spencer Jones will get a look. So it's interesting. If Bellinger's still around, he might not be around. Depends if he opts in or opts out. But I think if Bellinger has a good year, he's going to opt out and go get paid. So there could be a lot of toss-up there. Maybe Paul Goldschmidt doesn't come back. Maybe they bring him back on another one-year deal. Could be a lot of toss-up going around. But I would like to see Spencer Jones get an opportunity next year so we can see what he is finally. Just says between DJ, Vivas, Peraza, and Reyes, it just seems all of them more or less can't hit. Be right with Peraza's defense. I agree. The offense hasn't been there for any of them. Vivas looked pretty decent at some points in the minors and spring training at some points, but it just hasn't panned out recently. Reyes, I don't know what the hell he does well. I don't think he does anything well. DJ is an old man who's often injured, and Peraza is a defensive wizard who hasn't shown he can hit in limited time. So if from that group, I would give the nod to Peraza to play third. I'd let DJ play second while he is healthy. Whoever knows how long that's going to be, and let it play out. It's unfortunate because those might be two automatic outs in the lineup going forward. But as long as they catch the ball and just if DJ, like I said on Twitter the other day, if DJ could just slap a few singles here and there, move runners, situational hitting, not hitting the double plays, that's all I want from him. Just turn the lineup over, get the big boys back up, don't hit in double plays, and I'll just deal with the rest after that. Peraza, I feel like he swings for power too often. If he was more of a cut down that big swing a little bit sometimes and try to smoke a ball to the opposite field or hit some singles or split a gap and hit a double. I think that'd be more of a fit for his offensive style. He does have the power, but he's not going to be a 25-30 homer guy. So I would love to see him cut down a little bit and split some gaps or hit some singles, or hit some seeing eye singles through the infield. Put the ball in play and stop trying to go yards so much, because when he does pop it up, it's a waste of time, as we have seen. And I think he did that a couple times today. I think he just missed one to dead center, and then I think he had another pop up or something like that. But yeah, I would love to see Peraza start hitting, because we've seen a little bit of that in the past in spring training and stuff, and we definitely use the offense. But overall, going back to the beginning of the game, this was billed as a pitcher's duel from the beginning. Wu definitely held up his end of the bargain. Fried held up his end of the bargain. Both guys did really well. Max Fried, with his lesser stuff, went 5 innings. Some people thought he should come out for the 6th, but he was up to 91 pitches and he was kind of laboring. So a lot of times is you don't just go off of pitch count. You can go off of, the stress of the innings. So it was a stressful 91 rather than, an easy 100 and into the 7th. So, sometimes you have one of those starts, but for the type of stuff he had and how off he looked at times, to go 5 innings, only 1 run, 5 Ks, and give your team a chance, we'll take that definitely on his off day for sure. ERA is 1.11. He's been absolutely fantastic. And that's not just a good start. I mean, he's held that over, he's pushing 60 innings so far, over 9 starts. So he's definitely held up his end of the bargain after being handed a great contract. Cruz comes in, 1 inning, 3 strikeouts. He's back. Maybe that, that rough outing against the A's in that minor league ballpark was a little bit of a, PCL. I know the ball flies out there. It's sunny, it's hot, the wind blows a lot. So, sometimes in those situations, big leaguers stuff is a little off, especially the pitchers in those conditions, and the ball flies. The ball was traveling there for sure. So I think he got burned a little bit, but, throw him right back in the fire today. Close game. He goes 1 inning and strikes out every batter he faced. So that's fantastic. Leiter Jr. looked good too. 2 strikeouts on splitters, which are fantastic. A couple guys there in the bullpen with really good splitters. This is why, I wouldn't be opposed to the Yankees maybe giving out a decent prospect for a Tony Gonsolin type, back of the rotation type of arm. The Dodgers are going to have a surplus of starting pitching here. I know Sasaki just went on IL, but they're going to have 6 or 7 dudes, here in a couple months. And, Gonsolin might be one of the odd men out. So might as well give a call and see what it's worth. Not going to say it's going to happen, but, might as well check on it. Maybe they'll be willing to do something there. Luke Weaver comes in, 2 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. That was absolutely fantastic. You guys know I'm not the biggest Aaron Boone guy in the world, but I thought bringing him in late there to keep things at 1, to give the offense a chance to tie it, was definitely the right move to go there. Sometimes closers in a non-safe situation aren't, themselves. The adrenaline's a little different. The Yankees were down 1-0 when Luke Weaver came in, so that was a move to just try to keep things right there at 1-0 and give the offense a chance to tie it, and they did. So I like the move there. Weaver did his thing. He was up to 96 miles an hour on the fastball today, which I love to see. When he starts taking the 97, 98 like he did last season, I'll be definitely excited and thrilled to see that from him, because that was the best version of him last season. But we did see the fastball up in the strike zone working really well for him today, and that's where he gets a lot of his strikeouts. Obviously, that changeup is big time, bottom of the strike zone, started at the knees, break it out of the strike zone there. But when he chases up with that heater, his 4-seamer has good carry, especially when his velocity is up to 96-ish or above. So definitely like that move there from Boone, and really like to see Weaver pitching like that. Real quick, guys, if you're watching on Twitter, please go to my Twitter page, click my bio. There's a blue link in there. Click the link. Find the Lasagna Show on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button and like this video. I would greatly appreciate it. And I would love to have you along for the ride for the rest of the season and see you in the comments so we can talk some baseball. We want to make this show as interactive as possible. I'm looking into some ways to get it even more interactive. But for now, we're going to work this chat. And I love seeing you guys chiming in with your comments and your takes during the game, because sometimes there's things I forgot or things I didn't notice. So it's nice to to see you guys chiming in and talk some baseball. After a tough loss like that too, man, everyone wants to come on here and air things out and vent and voice their frustration. So this is a place where you could do that. Going back to the bullpens, so Devin Williams comes in. We talked about him a little bit. Looked really good with the runner on third there. Did his thing, kept it close. I mean, not kept it close, but kept that run from scoring. Tim Hill didn't look great. We all know how that ended. But the Mariners pitching, man, these guys, they had some guys come in that were, pretty damn nasty. A lot of guys that a lot of us have heard of before. Yankee Great says knew that once it was finally tied, it wouldn't win it, especially going into extras. You know how things usually go for us in extras, not great. And we saw exactly that again. Well, yeah, look at the ERAs that these guys brought in. So Wu, 2.84, great. Spire came in after that, 2.30, great. After that, it was Brash, 0.00 ERA. I know he hasn't thrown a lot, but Brash has filthy stuff. Every time we see him, year after year, his stuff is just so good. He made Judge look foolish there, and sometimes teams will attack Judge, especially the guys with great stuff. They'll go after Judge the same way we saw the Dodgers go after Judge in games 1 through 3 of the World Series last year. And Judge, who, in 2024 during the regular season, he was very disciplined. He wasn't chasing. He understood his strike zone. He wasn't going outside of that. And in the World Series, specifically games 1 through 3, the first 2 games in Dodger Stadium and the first game at Yankee Stadium, he was uncharacteristically chasing some really good pitches. And, usually he will wave at that breaking ball down and away, but he won't do it, as often. The Dodgers figured something out in those first 3 games of the World Series there. Judge was, I think, 0 for 12 with 7 strikeouts. Brash pitched him today exactly how the Dodgers are pitching him, and it was effective. But, it's it's one of those things. You can pitch a lot of guys like that and get them out too. So, but, we just kind of harp on it a little bit with Aaron Judge because, he's the guy hitting 400. He's one of the best hitters we've ever seen, one of the, best offensive specimens in the last 100 years that we've witnessed doing certain things. So he's being held to a high standard, and when you see moments like that, you're like, damn, that kind of looked like what happened in the World Series. So the book's out there on him. If guys could do what Brash did to him, they might have some success, but it's easier said than done. Not everyone has stuff like Brash, and not everyone can execute consistently to him. So he's going to, punish you when you make mistakes, just like a lot of other hitters do. But tip of the cap to Brash. His stuff was nasty. It was filthy. And I can't stand seeing him come in against us because, it's going to be some nasty shit. Munoz came in a little out there, gave up the 1 run, hit Paul Goldschmidt. He gets on, and Paul Goldschmidt steals second base with those giant forearms attached to his arms. This man could run a little bit, all right? He gets that momentum, gets those big old things swinging when he's running, and, don't get in front of him. That's a freight train. So he's still second base with some athleticism from a first baseman. Closers usually don't have a great, a quick delivery to the plate. They're focused on getting the batter. So a lot of times you can get a cheap stolen base against the closer, with Goldschmidt did do. Ends up on third base, and Volpe with an excuse me swing, bounces one to the right side, and we get a run out of it. So Mariners make the throw to home, throw gets away, we're tied up. So after that, it was like, damn, this team, struggling all game to score some runs, facing some really tough pitching. Their bullpen is filthy, just hanging around, keeping it close. Weaver does his job, Williams does his job, we tie it up. This feels like, this could be one of the better wins of the season, all things considered, the amount of the pitching they face and how they've been kind of shut down all game. So it definitely makes it frustrating to get, to have opportunities to win a game there, and they fall short against some really good pitching. Vargas and Legumina were also pretty good. Overall, the Mariners pitching 11 innings, 0 earned runs. The 1 run was unearned, and 13 strikeouts. I mean, the Yankees offense still, after all that, had an opportunity to win that game and unfortunately did not. Bellinger had a couple moments where he had some good pitches to hit and missed them. That last at bat he had, he's 2-0. Takes a fastball right down the middle. I don't understand it. Obviously I'm not a big league hitter, so these guys have scouting reports in their head. They have, tendency charts and, pitch sequencing stuff they read on these guys. So, it could be a scouting report that says, oh, 2-0, he's probably going to go slider on you or some shit like that. I don't know. But you hear a lot of big leaguers say, sit fastball and adjust to everything else. In that moment, if he's not sitting heater, I don't know what he's looking for. 2-0, fastball right down the middle. I know some of these guys have funky arm angles and they hide the ball well. Some guys throw from behind their head. Some guys throw kind of from the side, and you can't really pick up the ball that well. In the major leagues, you don't have much time to, decipher what the hell just happened. The ball gets on you in the blink of an eye. So I can't sit here and be like, oh my God, I would have swung on it. You just can't do that because you're not a big leaguer and you've never done it before. But for him in that count, 2-0, I would have been sitting dead red and hacking, man. He just took it right down the middle. So very unfortunate. And then Austin Wells gets a cookie, breaking ball right down the middle. All he had to do was pull the ball, and he drives a run in there, runner on third, less than 2 outs. Those are the situational hitting moments where you got to come through, especially in a game like that. Facing really good pitching against a good team, you're not going to get many opportunities. And that was a golden opportunity there for Wells, and he just missed it. So very disappointing. But it's 1 out of 162. The team's been playing really well. I think they won 7 out of the last 8 or something like that coming into tonight. So obviously trees don't grow to the sky. You're gonna get lost in there eventually. So it's just one of those games. But they battled some tough things to see there with the situational hitting and some of the decision making at the end of the game. But it is what it is. Fried looked good, Weaver looked good, Williams looked good. There were some moments there where you can definitely get some good takeaways. Cruz looked good, Laddy looked good. So you just tip your cap. It's one of those games. Got in the extras, you battled, you took the L. So there and win tomorrow. Tomorrow, I believe, is a day game here on the left coast, the fraudulent time zone that I live in. It is 1:10 start. So on the East Coast, it'll be 4:10, which is right, up your guys' alley out there. I don't know who's still awake out there at 10. Well, it's 10:30 for me. It's pretty late for you guys. So if you're still hanging in there with me, I appreciate it. Find the Lasagna Show on YouTube. You can find the link in my bio on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let's have some fun this year. But once again, I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me tonight. I know it's late for a lot of you. Tomorrow we will see Will Warren versus Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, has some pretty solid stuff. So we'll see what the offense can do against him. Facing Wu today, you get Castillo tomorrow. You're going to have to put together some good at-bats and make something happen. So hopefully Will Warren can continue the way he looked in Oakland. Hopefully that'll translate. He got some confidence, find something with the release point, and he can effectively pitch within the strike zone and miss out of the strike zone when he wants to on purpose. He's definitely got the stuff to do it. So tomorrow will be a pretty good battle, middle of the day. Looking forward to that one. Bernard says, thanks for doing a great job. Thank you so much, Bernard. You are the man, as always. I think you're the man. You already know that. I'll text you afterwards. Yankees great says 1:39 a.m. in the Big Apple. It is late. For those of you who are still watching, I appreciate you guys a ton. So once again, tough one today. We will be back tomorrow after the game. Look forward to seeing you guys on the post game. But for now, have a great rest of your night, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Go Yanks.